Tonight, I'm just going to go over some basics in terms of what is Thrive, what do we do here each week, and how do you do it well. I want to set you up for success in this ministry, and there's a few ways that I've observed over the last 5 years of leading Thrive to be able to get the most out of this ministry, and not just get the most out of it, but put the most into it. It's not just about coming here and consuming on Thursday nights, but about participating and contributing. And I hope that that's what everybody's doing. This is such a great community, such a great family. I usually talk about the Thrive Dessert Bar when I do main service announcements, but I also usually talk about the community piece to it. It's just a really unique and special thing that we get to gather like this every week. We get to spend consistent and quality time with each other every week. And maybe each individual Thursday is, small in comparison to the big picture, but I think there's this cumulative effect of coming week in and week out, engaging in your group, getting to know people in your group, listening to the sermons, the teaching, looking up the passages, engaging in conversations each week. The cumulative effect of this over the course of the year makes a significant difference in your personal spiritual life, and I think also in your marriage and your family. And so I'm really committed to this. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that we're back. It's such a long summer where we're away, and so it's nice when we can come back together like this and resume our Thursdays. So welcome back. Glad you're here. Let's talk about what is Thrive and how do you do it well. I say this, I think, every year now for the last few years. Thrive is not simply a social gathering. Thrive is a ministry of the church. And that's worth stopping to consider a little bit. What does it mean that we are a ministry of the church? That means our purpose for gathering is more than playing games and eating cookies and enjoying conversations with other adult human beings, right? Our purpose for gathering is bigger than that. And there's a spiritual significance to it. We are, as a church, engaging in reaching people for Christ, teaching people what it means to follow Christ, and training people to go out and repeat the process. And Thrive is one of the extensions of that reaching, teaching, and training ministry. And so what we get to do week in and week out is we get to turn our chairs face to face. Actually, it's cool because in this room, we sit side by side. We sit, stacked shoulder to shoulder, and we face the stage, and Pastor Mike preaches, right? And now on Thursdays, we flip the room, put in tables, and you guys turn your chairs face to face, and you talk about it. And in our case, we're going to talk about some of what Pastor Mike says, but also a lot of what I end up teaching on Thursday nights. And so it's an opportunity for us to connect, to talk about eternally significant things. A lot of things we could do on a Thursday, a lot of different things we could talk about. It's really good when we can block out Thursdays to talk about spiritual things, to come alongside each other, to help each other, to encourage each other, to spur one another on. That's what we get to do week in and week out here in Thrive because we're a ministry of the church. Open our Bibles. What does the Bible say about marriage and family in the Christian life? What does the Bible say about the issues that we are facing right now in life and the other people in your group are facing? What does the Bible say about it? Let's talk about it. Let's help each other understand it. Let's help each other become more like Christ in this situation. Now, the stuff we end up talking about is super relevant because I think we could all testify that when you get married, a new set of challenges enters your life, okay? When you get married, you have problems that you didn't have before. And you find out what the problems are sometimes. And there's conflicts, and you find out that there's problems while problems are happening, right? And so there's always a need for us to pause and consider, what does the Bible say about how we do marriage well and live the Christian life as a Christian husband or a Christian wife, okay? So the issues, they're common, makes our discussion in here really relevant. And these issues are compounded with children. Now, I'm not a big math person. I'm more other stuff, okay? Other stuff. Not math. And it's really funny to me when I drive past a sign that says Russian math. Have you seen these signs before? What is Russian math? Russian School of Math or stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen the signs? What's the difference between Russian math and math? I don't know. And I looked it up today to try to find the answer. And I spent like 5 minutes trying to figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. Okay, so I still don't know what Russian math is. But there is a Russian math store or whatever, office area right by my house. And I have a picture of it. Russian School of Math. Okay, Plaza Viejo, this is right by Sandbar Pet Shop. You know what I mean? It's out of business now, but right by my house. Yeah, I live right there. And so I drive past the Russian School of Math all the time. I bring up the Russian School of Math because I've always thought that was funny. And I want to propose, if we could just make up styles of math, I want to propose Thrive Math. Okay, are you ready? Who's ready for some Thrive Math? All right. Now, stick with me here. I'm gonna take you into some Thrive Math. What I have suggested so far is that when you get married, and you could all testify, you encounter problems that you did not have before. So we can abbreviate problems with P. Is that how you, in math talk, do you abbreviate a problem with P? Anyway, so P is the variable shorthand for problems. Okay, so when you get married, and I'll prove it to you, look, Paul says it in 1 Corinthians 7, he says, I want you to be free from anxieties, Christians. The unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord, but the married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife, and his interests are divided. And the unmarried or betrothed woman is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to be holy in body and spirit, but the married woman is anxious about worldly things, how to please her husband. Look, Paul even says it. Look, there's gonna be problems. You're gonna be distracted. You're gonna be divided. There's gonna be issues, okay? Now, when you have children, you have problems that are compounded. So we'll call that P squared. Compounded problems. Now, we have two variables, right? Here they are. Oh, and I'll just prove this with another passage. This is true for everybody, but it's also true for kids, right? The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? People have problems. Kids have these same problems, and they bring them into your home, and they compound problems in your life with them. Parenting is just a constant problem solving, right? You get woken up at 2 a.m. tonight. Anything can happen at that moment, okay? These are all real examples. You get woken up at 2 a.m. Dad, when is the Great Tribulation? And I'm like thinking of the answer and wait a second, stop it, go to bed, right? Wake up to it, Dad, there's an alligator in my room. No, there's not. Go back to sleep. Dad, it's 2 a.m. There's a pool of water in the bathroom. Okay, don't go back to sleep, show me, okay? And then the fourth example, Dad, I threw up, right? You name it. So you hear that voice at 2 a.m, Dad, anything can happen at that point. You just gotta be ready for a hypothetical, a real, a theological, anything, okay? So they not only create their own problems that you need to solve, but they also put stress on your marriage problems that you also need to solve. and you may not even realize the ways that they are complicating the situation. It's worth mentioning, children are a blessing from the Lord, Psalm 127, okay? We'll talk about that at another time, but that's not my point right now, okay? Okay, now, I am not a mathematician, as you've seen, but let's put these variables together. P multiplied by P squared equals big, complex problems. BCP. They're big problems and they're complex because they're all intertwined and they're confusing now because you're mad at your spouse, but really it was a kid that really set you off, and now you're in this fight and you don't know why. And look, it's complicated. It's all twisted, it's all tied together, and it's also big. Okay, so here's Thrive math. You know where this is going, okay? Because there's another variable, and the variable is Thrive. We can call it T, okay? P times P squared equals BCP. When you divide that by Thrive, what you get is thriving marriage. And that is why you're here, right? Thriving marriage. Now, there it is. There it is. Maybe the mathematicians can help me fix this, and then we'll put it on a Thrive shirt, okay? It's not quite there, right? It needs a little work, but the idea is in process. The ball is rolling here, okay? These big, complicated problems are ones that you can't fix in one conversation. You can't fix in one day. You can't fix with one phone call, one text message. These are big problems, and you are navigating any number of them any given time in your life right now, and you know it, and I know it. Sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't talk about it, but you know that those are there. And so this is a big component of your Christian life, is this relationship that you have represented here in the room, your spouse, your marriage relationship, your family. Ton of responsibility, ton of opportunity, ton of great good that's here. God created this marriage. God appointed you, your spouse. God oversaw this whole process. He's got you here in this room. So we're going to talk about it week in, week out, and try to help each other to solve these problems so that we can have thriving marriages. Now, when I say thriving marriage, here's what I mean. That's not a term that I use to describe a perfect marriage. When I use the word thriving marriage, I'm talking about a marriage that's on a trajectory. A marriage that's on a trajectory of godliness and growth. You're moving in the right direction. That's where we want to be. That's where we want our marriages to be, moving in the right direction. And so a thriving marriage does not happen automatically. Okay, we got more people who can testify to that. Okay, it doesn't happen by accident. You don't wake up one day and have an amazing, healthy marriage. It happens as a result of God's grace and your consistent practice of godly habits. And we're going to talk about these. We're going to help each other with these on a regular basis. Okay? So I joke about Thrive Math and the problems and challenges that are inherent to marriage and parenting just kind of internally within our family units, within our homes, basically, right? But we know all too well that there are problems from the outside that are coming in at every direction. The world in which we live is increasingly opposed to what we are all about here. Having a godly marriage means certain things that the culture suppresses, attacks, scoffs at, right? So for you to have a godly marriage, a thriving marriage, that's difficulty enough in an ideal set of circumstances, right? In an ideal Christian bubble, but you don't live in an ideal Christian bubble. You live in California, right? And we need Christians to stay here in California and to live here, right? We need to help each other with this stuff. And so we live in a culture that's increasingly hostile and opposed to this stuff. All the more reason for us to huddle together on Thursday nights and help each other think clearly and accurately and biblically about this stuff. Now, I said that Thrive is not a social group, right? It's a ministry of the church, but that doesn't mean that we're not social. We're super social. We have a lot of fun here. Thursdays are the highlight of the week. They're fun. They're enjoyable. It's really enjoyable to be here on Thursdays, and we have good friendships, I think, represented, dynamic relationships here in this room, and we work out these problems together in small group ministries. And so here's a passage. I alluded to this. This is what we get to do in our social settings, is not just talk about politics or sports, but we get to do this. Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. We get to consider and act to stir up other believers to good things, love and good works. Let's do this, and let's put ourselves in a context where other people are doing this and we reap the benefits of it, right? And why would we not engage in that? That's good. Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. You get to do this, and you get other people who would do this with you. You get a team, you get a group, you get a network, and we get to help each other with this stuff. We have fun while we do it too. So speaking of fun, so it's so fun that Thursday nights have become known as National Thrive Day, right? So if you've been around, happy National Thrive Day. Every Thursday is a national holiday. It's been that way since the Trump administration, okay? Because I don't know what year it was, but we called or pretended to call Donald Trump when he was in the White House. We had a phone conversation with him where we appealed to him that every Thursday would be National Thrive Day, and ever since then, it's been National Thrive Day. So I was having coffee the other day with my friend Jason, and actually the other day, it was like back in June, we were having coffee. But you remember that, Jason? Okay. And I took this picture. It was great. It was a great coffee. Well, I took this picture. I was wearing my Thrive shirt, meeting with a Thrive guy, and I'm sitting over his shoulder. This is in High Ground Coffee in Mission Viejo, right by the Russian math place, okay? And I'm like, what is going on here? And I look on the calendar, National Cheese Day, World Ocean Day, National Iced Tea Day. Can you see that from where you're sitting? Father's Day. I think I like that one. National Fudge Day, National Selfie Day. What in the world is going on here, people? Okay? National Pink Day, Hug Day. This is outrageous. And it's this kind of stuff that made me say, hey, if we can have National Sunglasses Day, then we can have National Thrive Day. Okay? So that was part of it. So stuff like this, we get to come, and every Thursday is a holiday, okay? So I guess that's all I'm saying about that. Okay, how do you do Thrive well? Well, there's no mystery. Those we're supposed to reveal one at a time, but there it is. So let's pray, and you can go to your groups. Yeah. Number one is show up, and that's obvious. It's obvious, but it's also difficult, and you can vouch for me on that, right? Mid-semester, it's gonna be tough to get here. It's great, you're here opening night, great, awesome, but what about next week? What about the week after? Life's busy, hard day at work, kids are, difficult, tough to get out the door. I know how it goes. We got 4 kids, right? We got busy jobs. I know that it's difficult to get here on Thursday nights. It is for us sometimes, but we're committed to being here. I'm committed because if I don't know, if I'm not here, then it'll be really obvious. But I'm committed to being here. I want you to be committed to being here too. Attend regularly. Your group is not the same when you are not there. You are part of what makes your group your group. So if you're not there, your group is not fully your group. You're a critical member, critical piece. Your presence matters. Second one, contribute. Don't just show up, but show up to give something. I read those passages, spur one another on, bear one another's burdens, right? It's not just you coming to receive the food or the dessert bar, the stuff that we do here, the great teaching that our kids are getting. I mean, such a great thing that we send our kids over there and they get to do Awana and Kids Bible Club, and they're really well taught and all that, and they love it. So such a blessing. So you get a lot of benefits, I think, from being here, but it's not just about you coming to receive, it's about you coming to give. So get to know the people in your group, pray for people in your group, support people in your group, step into that role of practicing the one another's that I read and others like them. Engage in biblical fellowship. Talk about things that matter. Encourage someone. Bless someone. Send someone a text outside of group because you care about them and you were thinking about them. All that kind of stuff. Engage in that. I would add along these lines, be open, be honest, be transparent. I mean, we're not going to get anywhere if nobody's honest and we're not really talking. So let's talk on Thursdays in our groups. Okay, so that's some of the stuff for contribute. I do then say receive help. I think that some people need to be told that, right? Hey, if you go to the hospital, tell your group, right? If there's an issue, there's a problem at work, sick kid, sick spouse, whatever, tell people and get help, get prayer, get support. We have such a great care team here, and the Fomachenkos are leading that this year, and so each group is going to have a prayer and care representative, and you talk more about that at a different time, but the bottom line is, if someone has a baby, someone goes to the hospital, someone gets sick, that can go on our prayer line, and people will pray for you. And then like 20 people will sign up to bring you meals, and you'll have more food and leftovers than you know what to do with, right? So take advantage of the benefits of being in this group and ask when appropriate for help. Be willing to receive that help. That makes sense? Okay. And then I say participate in accountability. This is just a really big deal, and I really want to stress it this year for you to participate in the accountability element. This is something that happens outside of Thursday nights. So the bread and butter of what we do right here, Thursdays, I used to try to do events like on Sunday nights or different times, and it was just tough to get people there because Thursday's our jam. Awana, dinner, dessert bar, Thursday, this is what we do, okay? So I don't plan a lot of stuff outside of Thursdays for our whole ministry. The one exception to that is accountabilities. So this is where you need to meet, guy, with the other dudes in your group once a month. Girls, you need to meet with the other wives in your group once a month. So got a slide for this. So one time a month outside of Thursdays, guys will do a guy thing, girls will do a girl thing, separate, different times, whatever. And then I'm suggesting to you that this is an essential component of Thrive. You need to be in a context of accountability because you need help and support, prayer and accountability as an individual man and as an individual woman. You need that kind of support in your life. And you don't need to, go somewhere else to find that. You've got it built into your Thrive group. You've got a group of guys, a band of brothers, bros, that will meet with you, help with, talk through stuff with you. Ladies, same thing. And this is just a way for you to go deeper in this group. So I want everybody to participate. And what we're doing this year, a little different than last year, is the guys are going to go through a book and the girls are going to go through a different book. Guys, we're going to go through a book called Disciplines of a Godly Man. It's a must read. It's a classic. You're gonna love it. It's gonna challenge you. It's gonna be helpful. It's gonna help you to grow as a godly man. It's free on Audible. So you don't have to pay for it, and you don't even have to read it. Someone will read it to you. Guys, we made it as easy as possible, all right? Ladies, yours is not on Audible, but I'm working really hard to convince Bethany to do a dynamic reading. Anybody with me? Is anybody with me on that? At least read chapter 1. We'll set up in the podcast studio. Just read chapter 1. You can use an English accent or not, whatever. So ladies, it's not free on Audible. You have to pay for it, but maybe Bethany can help you out. We'll see if she does. I don't know. All right, so basically, check with your small group leader on the timing and the schedule. You guys will plan your own days and times for this, but starting in September, you'll do like a 0 meeting, just connect, and then like get the book by that time. In October, you'll have your first accountability meeting and you'll read the first section of the book, okay? So you got plenty of time, but stay tuned for the schedule. All right. I think that's it. I just have some like announcements at this point, okay? So the first one is, if you are new to Thrive, we already welcomed you. We're glad you're here. You are invited to my house on October 1st, 6 p.m. We'll do dinner. We did this last year. Some of you came. It was great. Just to get a chance to know us to get to know you. We live in Mission Viejo, right by the Russian math place, okay? So jot that down. I don't have a sign up or anything, but we'll figure that out later. Kristen will have all the details on that, okay? Another announcement is we have binders. So like paper, hard copy binders. You don't need to get one, but they're back at the table. If you want one, you can grab one. Each week, we're gonna supply a printed out piece of paper. You can grab it on your way in. And then also, we're gonna supply next week's question. So you can actually, ideally, grab that paper on your way out. That way you have the whole week to look at the questions at least once before you come to Thrive. That's what I would like, is for you to look at the questions before you come, have thought through them a little bit before you come, so that when you come, you're able to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. So you can grab a binder if you want. The worksheets will be back there on the table. Now, this is 2023, so if you don't want to use a binder, you don't have to. We will email a PDF of the questions, and we also have a fancy app where your group info should be there. You should be inserted into the app. I don't really know what I'm talking about with this, but but in the app, Cindy does. That's what I'm getting here. So Cindy knows, and you will be able to maybe even access the questions from the app. Cindy, is there a way for us to do that? Okay, see? She controls all the stuff with the app, so that's great. Okay, a lot of different ways to get the questions. Look at them before you come. Clear as mud? All right. Another announcement is we need some people to serve in hospitality. Thrive, we got a great operation going here. Dinner, dessert, kids taken care of. That dinner piece and the dessert piece, we need some help to make sure it happens week in and week out. And so what you can do is go back to the welcome booth and you can talk to the Aldersons, Jay and or Teresa Alderson, about serving, and you can help serve the food or help set up the dessert bar. We need a few people to help with that. Anything else I should say about that? Okay, there they are. All right. Parking ministry. I think I only have one more after this one, so hang in there. Parking ministry. We have a church in a business park, and we're bringing hundreds of kids on campus on Thursdays. And so what we need is a few guys who can help with the parking ministry. So what this is gonna consist of is helping people get across the street right over there and safely to the church, okay? We need people 15 minutes before Thrive starts, so like 5:15 to 5:30, I guess. And we need 4 guys before and we need 1 guy before, 1 guy after. I didn't really carefully read that information until right now. So let's do some Thrive math. It has been requested we have 4 guys on each team, which would be basically 1 guy per month to take the before slot, and then another 4 guys to take the after Thrive slot. So if we get 8 guys right now, then you should be able to serve for 15 minutes once a month. And that's Thrive math, okay? So text Garrett. He didn't know that I was gonna put him out there like this, but look, 714-287-8215. Just text him and say you'll serve. We need guys. So we need 8 guys right now. Just do it. 714-287-8215. Garrett, has anyone texted you yet? We need 8 guys. Look, if you don't have, if you're driving separate, guys, and if you can get here 15 minutes early, we need you. 8 guys. I told them, Joe Spurgeon, he was like, hey, is there any way we can get 8 Thrive guys to do this? And I said, absolutely. So, all right, solid. I expressed a ton of confidence in the Thrive guys because this is what the Thrive guys do. They step up. When we say, hey, we need Thrive guys to make burgers, they make the best dinners that we have in Thrive, okay? So anyway, 714-287-8215. If you want to send him text messages at 2 in the morning about other stuff too, that's fine with me. Okay, the last announcement, I'm sorry, is if you can pay for dinners, that would be great. We spend a lot of money each week bringing the food in here. And so if you could, I don't know, factor like $5 per adult who's eating, that would help to offset the cost. If you have kids, if $5 is 1 adult, you figure out how many kids you have and how much of an adult they eat. So maybe they're a $4 kid, maybe they're a $3 kid, maybe they're a $7 kid. I've seen them. I ate like 6 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. You know, I'm like, I'm not good at math, but how much are they? $8 each? $6? 6? 6, so if they ate 6, that's $36 of Chick-fil-A sandwiches that you just ate. If your mom and dad took you to Chick-fil-A, are they gonna spend $36 on you? No. All right. So if you could pay for dinners, that would help. What you can do is scan. There's a piece of paper on your table. You can scan that, and you can just donate that way. There used to be like little jars for cash. Do we still have jars for cash? Okay. Are they on the tables? At the dinner, yeah, okay, thanks. All right, so that's it for me. I guess a couple more things. When you go to your groups, you got half hour right now. You can do summer highlights, give some family updates, do prayer requests. I mean, whatever your group needs to talk about, you can take that time and do that. Now, in terms of where you're going, we've got your small group all set for you. We just need to put it up on the screen so you can see where to go. This is where you'll go each week. So next week, this is where you'll meet. And hopefully be able to have quality conversation. So we'll have 2 groups staying in here. Whitney and Ang, you'll stay in this room. Landeros, you're going upstairs in this building to the big edge room. Thompson, the focal point office. It's like up those stairs. Yeah, all right. Okay, next slide. This is the new kids ministry building, the 140 building. And when you enter, there's that lobby and like the reception area there on the left of the screen. You enter this way so you can see where you're at. Cushman immediately to the right, Sherman immediately to the right, Netchkov, Bear. Everyone see where you're at? You see where you're at? Okay, got it? Okay, one more slide. There's 21 groups. So the rest of you guys are across the street at CBI. So upstairs, the upper room is Morales. Downstairs in CBI, the Ark is Belansky. The threshing floor is Garrido. The CBI kitchen, not a bad place, is the Radcliffes. Classroom 1 is the McDonald's, and Classroom 2 is the Staples, all right? That's all I got. Have a great night. I'll see you later. See you next week.